Guys, some of you, when I mention video game music, you might think of Tommy Tallarico. But no, let's talk about the real pioneers, right? I mean, I'm talking about the real pioneers of gaming music, right? The ones who really had an influence on the industry. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about YMO, right? YMO were the pioneers in video game music. In their first album, they used samples, I believe, of what was it, Circus and Space Invaders, things like that. And let me tell you, in the vibrant landscape of electronic music that was used back in the day in video games, there was like a harmonious relationship between them, right? We needed the catchy tunes in our video games, and it really made our gaming experience all that much better, right? And at the intersection of all these, right, you really have to talk about Yellow Magic Orchestra, or YMO. Guys, first of all, let me say, excuse me for the raspy voice. I was at the Adam Sandler show last night, and I'm also sick, right? So I kind of lost my voice. So please bear with me, but I think this is an important subject, because now, especially with a lot of what's going on in the industry now, and when people talk about video games, yeah, we focus on some things, but not enough is talked about these guys and how influential they were back in the day. These guys were trailblazers, right? Whose influence in the video game industry started right away, right? It was really the birth of a sonic revolution. Now, in the late 1970s and early 80s, when video games are getting their mojo, right? People were gravitating towards them, and the industry was finding their feet. YMO emerged as a groundbreaking fusion of electronic and traditional instruments, and sometimes it would sprinkle in a little Japanese instruments in their traditional instruments. Now, this band was, please excuse me for butchering these names, they were compromised by Hiromi Hosono, Yokishiro Takahashi, and the iconic Ryuichi Sakamoto. And the band crafted melodies that were like far beyond the confines of their music albums, right? That would appear in other places. The innovative soundscapes that they made featuring synthesizers, drum machines, and just a traditional of Japanese instrumentation set the stage for a new era in video game music, right? And it really started from the 8-bit wonders back in the day. YMO's influence on the video games can really be traced, right, to the very beginnings of the 8-bit era, where the limitations on hardware for a lot of these developers forced them to make, catchy, memorable tunes, like in Pac-Man and, others, and YMO inspired chip tunes that became iconic. The infectious melodies that these guys created really influenced a lot of the industry and the heart of gamers, enhancing the overall experience that we all, cherish from back in the day. You know, as a technology, back then, right? They really raised the complexity of video game music, right? Their approach, YMO's approach of blending electronic and traditional sounds, inspired video game composers even further. The band's influence can be heard in games like Final Fantasy, Sonic, and others. It really was YMO's pioneering spirit. And their sound really went beyond cultural aesthetic, right? It really had an impact in the industry. YMO's impact went beyond the mere auditory pleasure of it. The band's visual style, avant-garde approach to music videos found a renaissance in the evolving aesthetics of back in the day. And you can hear it sometimes like in games like Jet Set Radio and Lumines. They adopted that type of YMO sleek, futuristic visuals, right? Creating impressive experiences for a lot of gamers, games that we still remember today. What is their legacy in modern gaming? Right? We don't talk about these guys enough when it comes to music. Even though the contemporary gaming landscape is a little bit different, YMO's influence remains palpable, especially in anything that's going to be retro games. Their tunes have been reimagined, introducing their music to new generations of gamers, right? In addition to that, just the band's innovative spirit echoes the games of back in the day where they were really trying to explore a different reality, right? And really complemented the storytelling. I want to say, really, in essence, Yellow Magic's orchestra's music was a groundbreaking fusion of electronic, traditional, and futuristic instruments that really influenced the video game industry, not only in the beginning, but still resonates today with a lot of retro-inspired games. And I don't think not enough is talked about of these early pioneers. We tend to focus on people who make spectacles of themselves, or we focus on the scandals, or maybe we focus on one or two games, like Streets of Rage, for example, or other, say Sonic, or other games like Mario and what have you. But if you go back to the beginning, right, if you go back to the roots of where these catchy tunes came from, this is where you're going to find the roots of it, and a lot of people don't talk about it. So I wanted to make sure that, I acknowledge these guys and really put them in their proper place within the industry, because, nowadays it's, they're not, especially in AAA gaming, they're not going to give away, like a legacy award for these bands, for the pioneers. And I think they should, right? I really think they should. If you ask me of what's missing in video games today, is to take a look back, and sort of like have a hall of fame and start honoring these contributors, because a lot of them now are passing away, guys. We can think of great programmers of great games that are no longer with us, and other than the game sales during their lifetime, they really never received the proper credit that they should have, when they were here with us. So this is me just trying to contribute something, give you something of interest here on a Monday morning. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're in the middle of work. Whenever you're listening to this, I really want to thank you for paying attention to my videos and being interested in this kind of stuff. I know it's like not the kind of stuff that's going to bring in all the eyeballs, but it is going to bring the eyeballs of people who really, really love video games. And, I consider myself to be part of that group. And hopefully you had a good time here on the video. Guys, if you'd like to, please subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help the channel. Guys, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.